Served Xavier like a predator and its prey. He had seen many new students that made the mistake of standing out. None of them got a good ending. Wearing down the spirit of new students during their recruitment was an unofficial tradition in Non-G Academy. Those who had all the qualifications to be recruited were not only talented, but usually also pampered at their homes. Due to their cocky attitude, they were often caught up in fights upon entering Non-G Academy. Thus, the older students made it their mission to humble them a bit before they would join. The teachers knew of this. They did not object to this tradition. For generations, this continued. Tang tightened his fist. A faint Q combat energy formed itself around it. His malicious grin spread further across his face. Back when he joined Non-G Academy, he also had to endure this procedure. He remembered how a level 2 young master knocked him out with one punch. This personal humiliation caused him to go all out whenever he had the opportunity to fight against a new student. It brought him satisfaction. He walked up to Xavier. The girls next to Ming threw her accusing looks. "Ming, why aren't you stopping him?" Quinn blinked with her bright eyes. Curiously, she stared at Xavier, who smiled faintly. She wanted to know if he was really as talented as Ming was, something she kept mentioning. Quinn pursed her lips. Anticipation flashed across her eyes. Without her angry red face, Ming looked a lot more attractive. She lazily brushed a strand of her hair off her forehead. "It is difficult to say who is going to win this fight. Xavier is strong, but Tang is not to be underestimated." Seeing that there was going to be another fight, the other new students walked closer. Curiosity was in their eyes. Before having to wait in the heat, they had also had their fair share of fights here. They were easily stopped by their much stronger seniors. Secretly, they were hoping Xavier would also embarrass himself. Tang's small eyes glanced at Xavier with sadistic joy. He enjoyed being the center of attention. "Are you ready?" "Sure, let's get this over with." Xavier's casual reply caused the students who were watching to whisper amongst each other. Some laughed a little. People with such a cocky attitude usually did not make it for long. Tang was a bit surprised himself. Part of him thought Xavier was mocking him, and he flexed his teeth in anger. "All right then, little boy, I'm going to teach you some manners." Xavier nodded, not bothering to reply. Tang furiously rushed forwards. His right fist clenched tightly. The Q combat energy grew. Immediately, it aimed for Xavier's head. The surrounding audience frowned. "He is not holding back. Scary." Xavier shook his head. He raised his palm where the fist was about to strike, and halted Tang's movement. It did not cause any reaction. Xavier looked unimpressed. "Slow speed, weak strength. Are you really a student here or just work as their janitor?" Hearing Xavier's ridicule, the surrounding people were left dumbfounded. One by one, astonished looks stared at Xavier's hand and Tang's fist. None of them expected this. A new student blocking an attack from a level 1 young master was not something they saw every day. Liu, whose fake smile was plastered onto his face up until now, watched the scene with terror. "It looks like I've misjudged him. If I would have known, I would have let someone stronger fight him." With fury in his eyes, Tang turned red. "Bastard, do you want to die?" His right leg shot for Xavier's lower abdomen. Xavier used his free hand to hit Tang in his ankle before it reached Xavier. Instantly, a bruise appeared. Tang groaned. An intense pain spread through his foot. The anger on his face became even more apparent. He took a step away, tearing his fist away from Xavier's palm. He jumped off the ground, using his Q combat energy to catapult himself into the air. Spinning around, a pale green Q combat energy appeared around his leg. It formed a blade as it rushed downwards, aiming at Xavier's head. The group of students who were watching called out in protest. "How shameless to use Wind-Light Edge against a new student. It is a high-leveled hunter technique." Ming furrowed her brows. She was not worried about Xavier. The fight between Xavier and Chang came to her mind. She remembered the state her brother was in once Xavier was done with him. There was no way a level 1 young master could injure Xavier in any significant way. Xavier lifted his face. The sharp wind made his skin crawl. Slowly, he lifted his hand, aiming at the falling Tang. "Fuck off!" A ferocious force rushed forth from Xavier's palm, striking Tang's chest. The heavy blow made Tang's face turn white. Seconds later, he landed on a rock that was boiling under the hot sun, about 30 feet away from Xavier. Tang spat out a mouthful of blood. His body twitched. Terror was on his face as he looked at Xavier standing in the distance, his palms still stretched out. Tang had no time to say anything. Almost immediately upon hitting the rock, he passed out. The people were shocked. No one expected such a quick defeat. Under the hot sun, the new students sheepishly stared at Tang. Moments later, they turned their attention to Xavier. This was the first time they had seen a freshman defeating a senior, especially a freshman that appeared to be slightly younger than them. Quinn pushed her lips into a thin line. That was terrifying. Ming was not over-exaggerating Xavier's talent. The other girls were taken aback as well. One of them approached Ming and asked, Ming, this man from your clan, what level is he on? He must be a young master, right? Ming huffed. She bit her tongue to give a snarky reply. After such a defeat, it should have been obvious to everyone that Xavier was on a higher level than most of the people present. She forced a polite smile. If we would be fighting, I would not be able to defeat him. Does that answer your question? Oh, so he is a young master? And this at such a young age? Even in our academy, that is quite a talent. Oh my, you really have great taste, but aren't you related to him? You are not going to let us have him? A beautiful girl jokingly teased, much to Ming's annoyance. Ming pushed the girl away. I already told you I am not related to him. He's adopted. The tips of her ears turned red. She focused on her breathing to not let her emotions get hold of her. Liu did not care about any of the teasing and laughter. His face looked gloomy. He did not even bother to put on his fake smile. The corners of his mouth twitched. Xavier pulled down his sleeves. I don't need to wait for much longer outside, do I? With all his willpower, Liu put on his over-the-top smile, hiding the coldness on his face. He walked up to Xavier and patted his back. You really have some talent, kid, but don't act too cocky about it. Though I won't deny that you are talented. There are many students that could take you in a fight. With an attitude, you might find yourself as a target. Xavier laughed. Thanks for that reminder, but I don't think you would be able to take me in a fight, would you? He was no fool. Xavier could sense Liu's disdain towards him. Therefore, Xavier did not feel the need to act ignorant. If they were to fight, Xavier did not want him to think he was scared. Besides, even if Liu would become more annoying, he had dealt with worse before. If Xavier would have liked Liu a bit, perhaps he would have bothered to explain that nothing was going on between him and Ming. But, oh well, it's not like he deserved such courtesy. Additionally, Xavier may have had his arguments with Ming, but he still did not wish her to get into unnecessary trouble because of this weird guy. He did not want Liu to hurt her after all. Liu's face twitched. Xavier could tell that he imagined what it must feel like to beat him into a bloody pulp. You arrogant brat. When you enroll at our academy, I will make sure to take care of this shitty attitude of yours. I might have a shitty attitude, but believe me, I can make sure that you will never be able to leave Wutan City again. He kept his indifferent smile as he spoke. Liu's shoulders dropped. As he looked into Xavier's eyes, there was a cold void. Fear overcame him. The last time he felt something similar was when he faced a savage, mystical wolf alone during his last mission. He swallowed down the threatening words that he wanted to say. Very well then. He heaved out a breath of air and took a respectful bow. Xavier was glad once Liu was out of sight. Suddenly, a tender feminine voice spoke up, coming from the inside of the tent. What a special young man. You must be a prodigy. It appears I have found quite a treasure. His voice was as gentle as a light summer's breeze under this hot sun. Under this tenderness, even Xavier was caught off guard. He turned around to look for the source of the voice. In the shadows of the tent, a lady dressed in green stood there with a warm smile. Her eyes were clear as water and loving. She appeared to be much older than Ming and the others. Her natural charm far surpassed the charm of the immature girls present. Although she was not as beautiful as Ming or Sunny, her genuine warmth and gentle spirit were something that amazed Xavier. The other young men who looked at her must have felt similar. There was an unexplicit sentiment in their eyes. Master Lin, oh, I missed you. Ming cried out in surprise as she saw the gentle lady. She pounced forward and pulled her into a tight hug. The gentle lady, or Master Lin, laughed at the sudden display of affection.
Goodness, Ming, weren't you enjoying your break from the academy? It was not bad, but I missed you.
Master Lin shook her head with a helpless sigh as she let go. She pat Ming's head and then turned to Xavier and the others.
Are these the people you have brought over? They seem quite talented.
Ming's chest rose with pride at her teacher's compliment. Hastily, she nodded.
Yes, of course. Only the best for the academy, though.
She tilted her head and whispered to Master Lin.
That guy Liu is acting more and more like an arrogant asshole. Well, can you blame him? You know how he feels about you, and you act so intimately with another young man before his eyes. It would have been weird if you would not be upset by this.
Master Lin tried to reason with Ming. Ming crossed her arms in front of her chest.
That will only make me like him less.
Master Lin sighed and decided to drop this conversation. She walked up to the students that were waiting outside the tent in the scorching heat.
Dear students, please come in.
She did not have to mention this twice. Before she finished her sentence, many students made their way into the tent. The cool shadow inside was a blessing. Even the students that were eager to start fights were worn down with exhaustion. This was of course intentionally planned by the academy. They would not want the new students to think that showing off their fighting skills on their first day of joining would be a good idea. Master Lin walked to Xavier.
Liu is not a bad young man, just a bit hot-headed. Don't get too upset with his actions earlier.
Xavier brushed it off with a laugh.
You must be joking, Master. I'm a gentle person. Why would I blame Liu?
Many people rolled their eyes. It sounded as if he tried very hard to play it cool. Master Lin blinked in confusion. She had a dark foreboding that she, after years of being a teacher for Nanji Academy, had finally met a student that might test her patience. She ordered 2 students to bring the unconscious Tang to her. They did as they were told. Once inside, Master Lin lowered her head to inspect Tang's wounds more closely. She furrowed her eyebrows, turning to Xavier. Her gaze was suddenly a lot fiercer, much to Xavier's distress. Master Lin stretched out her pale hand and lightly touched Tang. A pale blue energy was guided by her fingers as it entered Tang's body. It calmed the disordered Q combat energy in his body and healed most of his injuries. Xavier took a step to Sunny and whispered to her,
What is she doing?
She chuckled.
You should have spent more time studying instead of training. Amongst the different attributes, the water attribute is the one that is the gentlest out of all attributes. When someone does not have any healing medicine available, Q energy with the water attribute will help to treat wounds. Due to this, people that were born with the water attribute are also referred to as mobile healing medicine, so to speak. In many mercenary groups, there is someone with a water attribute amongst them. After all, when fellow members are injured and there is no medicine around, things can become really bad, and then only someone with a water attribute or a wood attribute would be able to gain some time until medicine can be found. With a groan, Tang regained his consciousness. His face was full of embarrassment as he saw Xavier. Quickly he got up, avoiding any eye contact with Xavier. Master Lin seemed concerned. Are you all right?
Yes. Thank you, teacher. Master Lin gave him a pleased nod. She went over to her elegant chair and took a seat. Smiling gently, she watched all the new students gather in the tent. With a flick of her wrist, a green scroll and a pen appeared in her hands.
Now, dear students, I wish to congratulate you on passing the test. All of you left are now enrolled at Nanji Academy. Since the school divides the classrooms into levels of strength, I will need to know what level you're on. Level 8 would be in Class F. This is the minimum requirement one has to reach to enter the academy. As all of you surely know by now, Level 9 would belong to the Class E. A Level 1 Young Master would be in Class D. Level 2 Young Masters will go to Class C. Level 3 Young Masters will attend Class B. Level 4 Young Masters will attend Class A. And those who have already reached Level 5 as a Young Master will be in Class S. Of course, these are all restricted for those who are younger than 20. She laughed a little. For more than a decade, we have had only one student with potential for Class S. If none of you are able to reach Class S, don't be discouraged. If I could gain more students for the B and C classes, that would be good enough. Master Lin sneaked a glance at Sunny and Xavier. Of course, she would not admit so in front of the other students, but amongst all of them,
Only these two gave her a feeling of true potential. Not that she thought the other students were bad. If that would have been the case, she would have not accepted them. But she had a premonition that they will end up at least in Class C. She was not the only one wondering what class they might end up in. All those who had witnessed Xavier's fight against Tang wondered how high he must score.
All right, starting from the left, please report your name, level, and age.
Master Lin lifted up the feather to take notes. The students sat down near the corner, watching with great interest.
Ming, what level is Xavier at?
A few girls giggled. Ming was silent for a moment. She did not want to tell them that she had no idea, and she also did not want to make any mistake which could embarrass her or Xavier. Ming shook her head as she realized how concerned she was about embarrassing Xavier. A few months ago, she would have gladly done so.
I'm not sure what level he is on right now. Pretty sure he should achieve C or B class. Wow, that is impressive. He must be really talented. When I got evaluated, the best ones only ranked high enough to enter D class.
One of the older students had an astonished face. Ming did not reply. Her attention was focused on the evaluation that had already begun. One by one, Master Lin called the new students up.
Hai Yan.
The young dark-skinned man named Hai Yan stood up. He was nervously sweating.
Hai Yang, level 9, 20 years old.
Lin nodded and recorded the information on her scroll.
Hai Yan, Class E.
She looked up from her scroll to the next student. Aaron Lee, level 8, 19 years old. He stood up to give his reply, took a polite bow, and sat down again. Master Lin hummed.
Class F, next one please.
Kai Lee, level 9, 17 years old. Kai Lee did the same.
E class.
Master Lin's curt reply as she wrote this down. Time went on as they all took their turn. A few new students that had passed the test would occasionally enter the tent to see what was going on, and who came into which class. Their seniors gave them a strict warning, so the new students made sure to obediently stick behind the queue. The only student before Xavier that stood out when it came to talent was a level 1 young master. He still ended up in Class D. Master Lin was not too displeased. A 17-year-old level 1 young master was not too bad. It meant he had some potential. As it was Xavier's turn, all the whispering and chatting stopped. Everyone turned their attention towards him. Meanwhile, Xavier got so bored by waiting for so long, he fell asleep. Sunny shook him awake.
Xavier, it's your turn. Oh, sorry.
Xavier jumped up and looked at Master Lin.
I'm afraid I won't have enough potential for the S class, but after doing the calculation, it seems I can make it into Class A.
Immediately, Xavier regretted saying this aloud. The students in the tent gasped and murmured in shock. In a corner, Liu's eyes twitched. He did not expect that someone so much younger than him would be his equal. Next to him, Tang turned pale again. Bitterness was written over his face. No wonder he defeated me without any effort. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Ming, didn't you say that he was at most a C or B class? Why is he saying he should be in A class? During each recruitment year of the academy, there aren't even 100 students that manage to reach A class.
A few of the girls looked at Ming. Their jaws dropped. Ming sighed.
I had no idea. A class?
Master Lin was as astonished as the other students. A moment later, a wide smile spread across her face.
It seems I truly have found a treasure. My goodness, I knew you would be talented, but this is amazing.
Xavier laughed awkwardly, unsure how to reply to so much attention and flattery. Sunny chuckled as she saw this.
Looks like our miracle child has created another miracle. Oh, please. I know that you are stronger than me. The spot in the S class will be yours.
Xavier rolled his eyes as he teased Sunny. Sunny's eyes widened. She leaned closer to whisper into Xavier's ear as she tugged on his clothes.
Should I give them false information? We could go to class together. Don't you dare. Do you think I will get jealous? Let the academy know how powerful you are. It will be good for your future, though you probably don't care that much about it.
Xavier playfully brushed over Sunny's head. She pursed her lips, straightening the hair again that Xavier mussed up.
All right, if you say it's fine. Soon Air.
Master Lin called Sunny by her actual name, and she flinched.
Zun Air, level 6 young master, 16 years old.
Master Lin, who had raised her pen to record Sunny's age and level, tensed up. Her jaw dropped. Silence was in the large tent. Sunny was the center of everyone's attention. They had yet to recover from the shock that Xavier gave them, as they were hit with a far bigger shock.
Level 6, young master? At 16 years old? Did I hear this right? She is even more talented than that witch in the academy.
Xavier was surprised too, though slightly less. He predicted that her strength should be around level 5 now. He did not expect Sunny to raise so much so quickly. Her potential had exceeded the S-class. Ming was also stunned. Back at home, she had never seen Sunny fight at her full potential, so she had no idea what to expect, and she had no idea about Sunny's mysterious background. To Ming, Sunny was an ordinary girl from the clan that had been blessed with divine talent, though she had no way of knowing just how divine Sunny's talent was.
Looks like that witch at the academy will finally meet her match,
she muttered bitterly and laughed. Liu and Tang could not take their eyes away from Sunny. In their hearts, they rejoiced. If they had offended her by hurting Xavier, who was right next to her, they would have ended up so injured that even Master Lin would not have been able to heal them. They did not know that their actions earlier made Sunny take mental notes on them. She was sure to not forget how they treated Xavier. Master Lin looked as if she was about to cry from happiness.
I did not think I would meet a student whose potential exceeds the S-class. I really have gotten lucky today. Undoubtedly, Zunair will be the most outstanding new student this year.
Again, Sunny flinched at hearing her full name, but still forced a polite smile as she shook her head, much to everyone's surprise.
Huh?
Master Lin raised an eyebrow.
Don't tell me there is someone with even more outstanding talent than yours. Actually, there might be.
Sunny snuck a quick glance at Xavier.
You see, next to him, my talent is really not that great. What? You have to be joking. You are a level 6 young master. Does this mean nothing to you? Who is this man you were talking about?
Xavier felt uneasy. Sure enough, as soon as the question left Master Lin's mouth, Sunny looked over at Xavier and stared at him. The others and Master Lin were stunned.
Miss Zunair, I have no doubt that Xavier is talented. Being in Class A puts him into the top 100 students of our academy, but he is still weaker than you.
Liu laughed. Master Lin is right. He is quite talented, but he has a long way to go if he wants to be anywhere near your level. Liu was not the only one with this line of thought. Most people in the tent gave Xavier a suspicious look. Someone with Class S potential was outrageously stronger than someone in Class A. Seeing how Sunny stared at Xavier, Master Lin furrowed her brows.
Was Mr. Xavier Xiao hiding something? Hey Ming, what's going on? Is Master Lin right and Xavier is hiding something?
Some of the younger students were intrigued. Ming did not reply. Her expression changed. As Sunny mentioned this, she suddenly remembered that there was a 3-year gap in Xavier's training. During those 3 years, he had been without power. Then, in 1.5 years, he has forcefully risen from being on level 3 to becoming a level 4 young master. This was a frightening training speed that not even Sunny could compete with. Ming swallowed.
How could I forget about this? Sunny is right. Xavier's talent is terrifying.
Xavier gave an apologetic smile.
I'm not hiding anything. My situation is a bit, unique, I guess. Most people in Wutan City know about it. What do you mean? Can you tell me about your situation? Allowing the academy to have a clear understanding of every student's potential will allow us to accommodate the students better.
Master Lin tapped the top of her pen against her hand. Her gentle voice would have made it impossible for anyone to refuse.
Please let me tell it. Xavier does not like to bring it up.
Seeing Xavier's hesitation, Sunny immediately understood. Master Lin chuckled and shook her head.
Very well, if you insist.
With her experience as a teacher, she of course knew why Sunny was attempting to keep Xavier protected. So far into the conversation, Xavier had no choice but to agree. Sunny explained with beaming joy.
Xavier arrived at our clan as he just turned 12. He was adopted. Originally, he came from America. By the age of 12, Xavier was promoted to young master.
Loud gasping and murmuring made their way through the tent. A 12-year-old young master was almost unheard of.
But, afterwards, between the ages of 12 to 15, Xavier was demoted to level 3.
The people who heard this were mortified.
Level 3? Demoted? How?
Even Master Lin was confused. This sounded like a work of fiction.
And then? What happened next? Xavier was unable to train for 3 years, but after he turned 15, he rose from level 3 to a level 4 young master within 1.5 years. So his current levels are the result of 1.5 years of training, while my strength is the result of 16 years of training. You can tell how much more impressive his results are.
Pride was on Sunny's face. Shock was on the face of everyone else. Lu and Tang shared a terrified look, horror in their eyes. Master Lin nodded, lost in thought.
It does seem as if you are truly the most frightening of all, young man. Had Sunny not brought this up, you would have gone unnoticed sitting next to her. Yeah, that would have been tragic.
Xavier threw Sunny an annoyed glance. Master Lin clapped her hands.
Very well. That concludes today's registration. We will be staying for another week, so feel free to come by to ask me any questions this week. Congratulations to all the new students who have passed today. From now on, you are enrolled at Nanji Academy. I hope you all will finish your preparation within 7 days. After 7 days, the flying envoy will pick you up in Wutan City and take you to the academy.
Once Master Lin was done, Xavier walked up to her.
Master Lin, there is something I wanted to ask. Oh, Xavier the young genius? What else do you need to know?
Master Lin lifted her head away from a scroll she was focusing on. The teasing nickname caused Xavier to turn red.
It is kind of hard to explain, but Master Lin, would it be possible to request some leave? There is something important I have to do. Request some leave?
Master Lin was stunned. Never before had a student requested leave on their first day.
According to our rules, aside from some designated days, new students have no right to request leave during the school year. I understand this, but it is really important. I won't have any choice but to go.
Xavier expected her answer. Still, he could not hide his frustration. Sunny's expression darkened. She remembered her and Xavier's conversation a few days ago. She sighed and played with a few strands of her hair. Secretly, she had been hoping Xavier would have changed his mind and stayed with her. When she arrived here, she had high spirits and was looking forward to studying at Nanji Academy. Suddenly, she felt depressed at the thought. Ming, who overheard the conversation with Master Lin and Xavier from a corner of the tent, was even more shocked. She had no idea Xavier intended to leave, and was unable to make heads or tails of this situation. Master Lin looked suspiciously at Xavier.
All right, I'll try to help you. If you do not need to leave for too long, perhaps I can help you.
Xavier's face flushed red. He felt bad for having to ask her.
Probably about a year.
The others who overheard their conversation thought they misunderstood. There was no way someone would request a year of leave on their first day. This was the first time something like this happened since the founding of Nanji Academy. Quinn was also dumbstruck. She gave Ming an irritated look.
This guy sure is something else, isn't he? Does he not want to go to the academy?
Ming laughed bitterly and shrugged. She had no idea where Xavier's request was coming from. There was no rhyme nor reason to it.
Are you messing around? Requesting 1 year of leave? This is almost a third of the entire time at the academy.
Master Lin had no idea how to reply to his request. It did sound like a joke to her. Xavier shook his head.
No, I am being serious, though I know how my request must sound.
Master Lin furrowed her thin black eyebrows, thinking it through before shaking her head.
No, this leave is too long, and I do not have enough authority to approve it. With your potential, it would be best if you would forget about whatever it is you think you have to do. The academy will help you a lot more with whatever sort of training you need. We have special instructors for all sorts of techniques and levels. You can learn anything here. It will be in your best interest. Why bother wasting your time to take a leave for an entire year? Well, actually, I don't know if it will be a year. Perhaps it ends up being longer than that.
Xavier nervously laughed. He figured that Master Lin was already at an end with her patience, so it was not like he could make matters worse. Master Lin closed her eyes and rubbed her temples. Never had she anticipated meeting a student that could cause her such a headache.
The leave is too long. I can't allow it. If I am unable to take a year of leave, then I will have to withdraw. If I get the chance next year, I will participate in the test again for another enrollment.
Xavier pressed his lips into a thin line.
Withdraw?
Master Lin's eyes jumped open. There was a sudden shift in her tone and attitude. She did not want to part with such a promising student.
Mr. Xavier, why are you making this so hard for me? The leave that you requested is far too long. I can't allow it, even if I wanted to.
She pouted her mouth and put on a sad face. Most of the other male students were about to rush to her aid and cheer her up. As they regained their senses, they turned red and looked away. Under Master Lin's attack, Xavier's heart was also rapidly beating. Lucky for him, his self-control was a lot stronger.
Master Lin, I need this 1 year of leave. Nothing will be able to change that.
Another headache began to plague Master Lin. She gritted her teeth as she stood up and looked down at Xavier.
You little brat, can't you take my position into account? How am I going to look if I find such a promising student, only for him to run off? Besides, what good can leaving the academy do for you?
Hearing Master Lin curse like that, many jaws dropped. Terrified looks were exchanged. No one had ever seen her that upset. Not even the students who have been at the academy for a few years. Ming flexed her teeth. Master Lin was her favorite teacher. Seeing her this upset made her boil with rage as well. Xavier did not know how to react. He bit his lips to not laugh in front of all those angry glares.
Looks like I really have a talent to piss people off. I bet they would not be able to teach me this at the academy.
Naturally, he kept those thoughts to himself. Instead, he said,
Master Lin, I understand why you're upset, but I have my own challenges that I need to face. If you do not approve of my request, I can only withdraw from the academy.
Master Lin sighed. Her demeanor calmed down. Much to Xavier's distress, there was a danger in her eyes.
Do you really plan to request a year of leave no matter what?
As Xavier nodded, she huffed.
All right then, I suppose there is one way for you to request leave.
Xavier was not happy to hear about this. He knew exactly what catch there was going to be.
If you can survive 20 rounds against me.
The others gasped. Ming stamped the ground.
This arrogant bastard! I can't believe him!
Master Lin smiled softly.
What now? Do you still wish to request leave?
Xavier huffed. He muttered to himself before agreeing.
Of course I do.
Hearing those words, the smile on Master Lin's mouth grew wider and more dangerous. His present gave Xavier concerned but also impressed glances. Although Xavier was gifted, the huge gap in levels and experience between him and Master Lin was hard to overlook. The difference between a young master and a she-master was a difference between day and night. Ming was left speechless at the fact that Xavier agreed to this fight.
He really won't stop until he hits a wall.
Master Lin led them outside of the tent.
This place is a little small for fighting.
Xavier followed. The others, after a brief moment of hesitation, also rushed out to watch the oncoming spectacle. The sun was already setting. A red and orange light covered the plaza. Finally, the scorching heat became less. The rocks and the ground also began to cool down. A fresh wind comforted Xavier and the others. Under the gazes of the other students, Xavier walked to the middle of the field and smiled at the opposing Master Lin.
I hope you will show some mercy.
The corners of Master Lin's mouth curled into a smile. She raised her empty hand. The green storage ring on her finger flashed, and a lawn whip appeared. Its entire length was dark blue. On top of it, a rich amount of energy materialized itself. At the grip of the whip was a sculpted serpent's mouth that had a monster heart embedded into it, about the size of a toddler's fist. Along the whip were inscriptions of symbols that emitted a faint glow. Even Sunny was impressed.
A whip with a monster heart core. It must have a water attribute as well. Using this weapon will boost Master Lin's strength by at least 1 or 2 levels.
Xavier watched Master Lin with a dry smile. He felt conflicted about fighting her. Part of him was worried that he might hurt her, and another part of him was worried that he might get himself hurt. He did not want to go all out against her. Master Lin did not seem bothered.
There is no chance that you will get a 1-year leave from me, but go ahead and choose a weapon to fight.
She waved her hand. A steel sword appeared from her storage ring. With a flick of her fingers, it transformed into a black shadow that rushed at Xavier. Xavier did not move as the shadow sword aimed at him with lightning speed. The sword was only 10 feet away from Xavier as it dropped to the ground. Xavier swallowed. He picked it up and slashed it about. Using a sword was not something Xavier was used to. He knew that there were many sword D techniques with different functions, but he had never learnt any of them. With a lot of effort, he remained calm. Master Lin raised one of her thin eyebrows. She did not expect him to remain so calm. With such a strong mental capacity at such a young age, he was destined for greatness and suffering. "Shall we start?" she asked with a smile. Master Lin's whip struck the ground a few inches before Xavier. The water attribute of the whip left droplets on the rock floor. His expression became more solemn. "I need to take this more seriously. This is my first fight with a Shi Master. Well, I have Lao's help. Facing such a strong opponent does make me nervous." Liu and Ming, who were both watching, had vastly different looks on their faces. On Ming's face were fear and anxiety. She struggled to hide her worry. Liu, who was overcome with jealousy, did nothing to hide his happiness. What a pretentious asshole, challenging Master Lin like that. Does he think relying on his talent alone will be enough to win this fight? "What did you just say?" The worry on Ming's face turned into anger. "I'm only being honest." More jealousy brooded in Liu after seeing Ming's reaction to his words. "You are in no position to criticize him. Would you even dare to fight against the Shi Master? All you can do is keep up this fake smile of yours. In the end, you act like a fucking coward. When you would be challenged, you would be the first one to hide. Aren't you embarrassed acting like this? Because I would be, and I'd rather die than be with someone so pathetic." Ming's merciless words made the others around them turn pale. Having known her for a bit, they have never heard her talk like this. Rage flashed up in Liu's eyes. He turned away, not wanting Ming to notice. Instead, he focused his attention on Xavier and Master Lin standing on the field. Silently, he was praying for Master Lin to destroy this little bastard. Xavier shuddered. He knew that an attack by her would far exceed his speed, strength, and experience. Never before had he faced such a powerful opponent. All he could do was focus on her moves and try to predict her next attack. Master Lin waved her hand. The whip danced briefly through the air before striking down at Xavier. The whip seemed to increase and decrease in length. It was about 30 feet away. Xavier narrowed his eyes and took a breath before jumping to the side as the whip was close to his head. It came down lashing on the ground next to Xavier. A huge water stain appeared where the whip landed. Xavier sighed. "Looks like there is no way around it. I can't keep dodging forever." He jumped off the ground and shot towards Master Lin like an arrow that had left its bow. The short 30 feet of distance could be made in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, as Xavier was about to attack, a great force came charging at his back. Xavier threw himself flat onto the ground. Blue energy glided closely over the back of his head. With his body pressed against the ground, Xavier clung desperately to it. A yellow, shapeless force smashed at the ground next to him. The counterforce it produced pushed Xavier high into the air. Like a rag doll, Xavier rotated mid-air. The metal sword in his hand took the momentum from his rotations, and Xavier used this to his advantage. With all his force, he shot the sword at Master Lin. She laughed seeing this. There was no sign of worry or fear on her face. She flicked her wrist. Her long blue whip mysteriously entangled itself in the air, forming a blue wall. As the sword hit the wall, the sword shattered into numerous pieces. Watching this, Master Lin raised her head and was about to launch another attack. Suddenly, a sort of pulling force attracted the dozen metal pieces that shattered over the ground. It caused them to fly towards Xavier. As they were close to his palm, they stopped. A ferocious pushing force erupted from his hands, and the metal pieces shot them backwards, aiming at Master Lin. "Truly a remarkable talent." Master Lin moved her empty hand in front of her. It lightened up with blue Q energy. "Water mirror." A huge amount of pale blue Q combat energy spewed out of her palm, forming a mirror of water in front of her. Sunny followed the happenings with great interest from a distance. "A water mirror? That does make sense for her type." "What do you mean? What is a water mirror?" One of the new students asked her in confusion. "Water mirror is a defensive D technique. It can only be mastered by those who have a water attribute. While it is not a very high-leveled skill, it is very practical. Many people with the water attribute can create such a mirror to reduce the strength of an opponent's attack." Sunny explained, having the textbook definition of water mirror memorized from a young age. The water mirror grew. As the sharp pieces of metal hit it, The mirror was about 20 feet thick. Blue and red reflections shimmered on it from the light of the setting sun. The metal pieces entered the mirror at a huge speed. However, the torrent of water immediately eliminated this. Inside the mirror, they stopped. One by one, the pieces of metal fell onto the ground beneath the mirror. The audience did not care about Xavier failing with his attack. Most of them were surprised he attacked Master Lin at all. Xavier was not too disheartened by his failed attack either. If it wouldn't have been for Vacuum Hand and Air Palm, the pieces of metal would have flown into his body, which would have forced him to retreat. This might sound brutal to an outsider, but in the continent of the heavens, wounds like that were easily treated with healing medicine. 1 or 2 knives in someone's body were not that big of a deal, at least as long as there was healing medicine close by. A good dozen pieces of sharp metal were usually not life-threatening either. If it would have been, Master Lin would not have allowed it. She was a teacher after all. Murdering students on their first day was bad for business. Once more, Xavier stepped off the ground and rushed forwards. "I need to get closer. I'm no good with weapons. If I'm within a range where I could attack her with my fists or legs, I might have another shot." As he approached Master Lin, he focused all his attention on any of her weak spots. Ferociously, he attacked. Using fist, elbow, and legs, he struck with all his might. But every blow was easily deflected. Xavier made use of all the D techniques he had learnt in his life. However, he gained nothing from his attacks. It was as if there was a layer between Master Lin and her surroundings that made it impossible to touch her. Every time she slid aside, Xavier looked up. As his eyes met with Master Lin's, he could see a mocking spark in them. Xavier was about to go for another kick, when he suddenly realized that there was some force sticking to it, preventing him from moving off the ground. In shock, he looked at Master Lin. Unable to move his legs, he tightened his fist instead. Using all of his remaining Q combat energy, he aimed a heavy punch at Master Lin. Octane Blast! A pale yellow energy materialized around his fist. With a wind-breaking sound, it struck Master Lin. The sudden increase in Xavier's strength caused Master Lin's eyes to widen. Surprise flashed across her face. She waved her hand, generating a water energy cyclone on her hand before making contact with Xavier's fist. A thunder-like sound erupted through the plaza. The audience gasped. Xavier's fist was only in brief contact with Master Lin's hand before she took a few steps back. She was beaming with joy. "It looks as if you will not be getting your leave anytime soon." Xavier's face was white. He trembled with a mix of rage and shock. Looking at his legs, he realized that he stepped right into her trap. No wonder she did not retaliate when I was attacking. She was trying to lure me into her trap. He finally understood Master Lin's motives. She must have been thinking to come up with a way to counter Xavier's dodging speed. She is a powerful opponent. How could I escape a trap like this? Master Lin laughed. Don't worry. I have a feeling that this will be our last round. Of course, these words did nothing to cheer Xavier up. Master Lin waved her hand, causing the long whip to coil around her arm. She tightly held the serpent's mouth at the whip's handle. Then, she raised her head, and suddenly, a strong dark blue Q combat energy emerged. It churned into the sky like a water fountain. A second after it appeared, it took the form of a giant water serpent, at least 100 feet long. It faced the sky and opened its mouth. Droplets of water dripped from its body, causing it to rain over the entire field. Under Master Lin's control, the water serpent displayed a frightening prowess. At full speed, the serpent rushed downwards at the immobilized Xavier. The bystanders let out cries. Middle XXD technique! Water python! Is she even allowed to use this technique? Man, Xavier is going to get himself hurt. Quinn got worried too. She gave Xavier a sympathetic look, though of course, he was too busy to notice. She is showing him who's the boss. Serves this arrogant bastard right. With his sort of character, even Master Lin would struggle to discipline him once he is at Nanji Academy. Liu grinned widely as he kept watching, not wanting to miss a single second of what was about to happen. He cursed Xavier in silence. Although the water serpent was truly imposing, Ming was not too worried. She knew that Master Lin had no intention to injure Xavier badly. Otherwise, she would not hold back as much as she did. Ming had seen Master Lin use water serpent before, back at the academy. There, the serpent was at least twice as large. When compared to that, right now the serpent was hardly intimidating at all. Ming immediately could tell Master Lin's intentions, and she smiled. On the field, the giant water serpent dived down onto Xavier. It produced a tremendous wind that pressed Xavier's clothes tightly against his body. The strength of a she-master was indeed frightening. Xavier was already exhausted, while Master Lin had not even used half of her power. The afternoon glow caused the serpent to have a sinister look. Xavier closed his eyes, laughing bitterly to himself as he whispered, "Oh, Master Lao, please help me. I cannot fight a she-master with my current strength." The old man laughed in his head. "So you finally understand, brat. In the eyes of a true master, you are nothing but a worm. The step you took on your path to regaining your strength was only the first one on a long journey." "I understand, but I believe I will be much stronger than her in the future." The giant serpent exploded above Xavier's head. Water sprayed onto the ground and high into the sky. A curtain of water concealed Xavier's sight. Master Lin was satisfied. The strength she used should have been enough to knock Xavier out. "Ming, please carry him back to the tent. Soaking in the water won't do him any good. It's bad for—" Before Master Lin could finish her sentence, her smile dropped. She could hear light footsteps walking towards her through the thick layer of fog that covered the plaza. A young man's silhouette came forward. He stopped in the middle of the plaza to take a good look at Master Lin's shocked face. The young man took an apologetic bow. "Master Lin, I am sorry, but you won't be able to run away from my request for leave." A great wave of surprise and shock went through the audience. "I've underestimated you. I'm impressed." Master Lin looked up and down at Xavier, whose clothes were hardly wet. Xavier shook his head and humbly laughed it off. "I got lucky, that's all. I am certain if you would have used your full strength, I would be dead by now." "If I had to use my full strength against a new student with your potential, how would I be able to keep my job as a teacher at the academy? Anyway, you are still standing, and I did give you my word. I will grant you this 1-year leave." Master Lin tensed up as she said this. It made her uncomfortable. She sighed. "Thank you for your help, Master Lin." Xavier beamed with joy. He took a deep, respectful bow. Master Lin was clearly not pleased about the situation she found herself in, but forced a smile as she saw Xavier's happiness. "So many people would sell their souls to spend more time at our academy, and you little ungrateful brat request to leave for an entire year. You really know how to cause people to get a headache. All right then, let's end today's recruitment. As mentioned before, we will be in Wutan City for the next 7 days to recruit new students. If anyone has any questions, please get back to me and ask." Xavier nodded. At this moment, the heaviness of his heart lifted. With everything settled, he would only require another 2 or 3 days of preparation before he could leave on his journey with Lao. Master Lin was about to turn around and leave, as Xavier hurried towards her to ask her something. "Master Lin, why don't you and the students come to my clan to stay for a few days during your visit?" "The Xiao clan?" Master Lin was stunned. Hesitation was in her voice. "Our academy already has booked a hotel in Wutan City. Going to your clan, wouldn't it be bothersome for you?" "No, it would be no bother at all. It would be our clan's honor to have a teacher from Nanji Academy as our guest." Being a renowned academy in the continent of the heavens, Nanji's influence in the empire was great. Even the influence of the premier auction house could not compare to theirs. As an extremely influential force, Nanji Academy had a rather condescending attitude towards the smaller local forces of Wutan City. Under normal circumstances, they would not accept an invitation to stay at anyone's clan. The various forces in the city also knew about this. Therefore, they did not push their limits. None of them dared to invite anyone from Nanji Academy to stay at their home. Instead, they kept watching with a respectful attitude from afar. Xavier knew about this. If he would manage to make Master Lin stay in his clan, it might raise their influence even more. Perhaps they might be able to gain more influence than the premier auction house at some point. With Master Lin's status, her visit would benefit the clan greatly. Not to mention, hundreds of thousands of people wanted to send their children to the academy. Most of them were inclined to take advantage of any situation they could get. And if this meant searching for the recruiting teacher during her stay, then they would do exactly this. The clan might experience a never-ending stream of visitors. Master Lin was not stupid. Naturally, she figured out why he would be offering her to stay. She pressed her red lips into a thin line as she mustered Xavier. There was something that intrigued her about this mysterious prodigy.
All right, we will stay with your clan for a few days. I suppose this won't hurt.
An excited screech escaped Ming, who jumped up at Master Lin and pulled her into a hug. Master Lin laughed and patted her head.
Liu, you should return with Tang and the others to the reception area. Tomorrow, we will continue to recruit students here. And don't cause any trouble.
Of course, Master Lin. Liu forced his eyes away from a group of girls who were playfully fighting and made his way to Tang and the others. Not long afterwards, Xavier led the way to the Xiao clan. The guards were stunned as they saw Master Lin and many of her students arrive at the clan. Xavier took a slight bow.
I wish to inform my father that Master Lin and a few of her students from Nanji Academy will be staying with us for a few days. Where is he?
The jaws of the guards dropped. Well, he is in his office.
Good. I will go and see him then. Please lead our guests into the meeting hall. I will make sure to bring Chief Zahn and the others there as well to celebrate their welcome,
Xavier said with a polite smile. The guard took a deep, respectful bow and led their guests into the meeting hall. Meanwhile, Xavier made his way to his father's office as quickly as he could. Leaving their guests waiting for too long would have been rude.
Father?
Xavier did not wait after knocking on the door to enter it. Seeing his father sitting on a chair, surrounded by 3 elders, he took a bow.
I brought good news, and guests.
Zahn let a burst of hearty laughter echo through the room. The elders exchanged questioning looks. That sounds wonderful. I love to hear good news. You bring me so much these days. Do tell me.
I passed the entry exam to Nanji Academy.
Zahn's eyes lightened up. That is indeed good news. Congratulations. So you have reconsidered your adventure with a mysterious alchemist that wants to train you?
No, not really.
Xavier admitted and sheepishly rubbed the back of his head.
I kinda requested a leave for a year.
You requested a leave? For an entire year? A leave from Nanji Academy? Zahn was unsure how to react to this. And the Academy granted you this?
They did, yes. Though we did have a bit of a disagreement at first. But they came around.
Xavier put on a wide smile. Zahn raised an eyebrow. He had an idea why they came around after their disagreement, which made him chuckle and shake his head. Well, I trust that you know what you were doing. Sometimes. Before Zahn could roll his eyes, Xavier hastily added,
Oh, and I brought some guests from the Academy.
The elders gasped in the background. You brought guests from Nanji Academy? The Nanji Academy? You must be messing with us.
I am not. Master Lin and some of her students agreed on staying a few days. I hope you don't mind.
The grin on Xavier's face spoke for itself. Of course, he knew that Zahn would not mind. Roaring laughter echoed through the room. Zahn stood up and mussed up Xavier's hair before pulling him into a hug. Now that's my son. I can't believe you. How did you convince Master Lin of staying at our clan?
Oh, I just asked and she agreed. She and her students are waiting in the meeting hall. We should throw them a proper welcome there.
Zahn immediately agreed. He sent a few servants to get drink and food ready, before rushing to the meeting hall. Once everyone was there, Xavier was the one who introduced Master Lin to the others, and vice versa. Lots of drinks and all sorts of food were served. The clan and their guests stayed in the meeting hall as they were chatting, laughing, and drinking until late into the night. Meanwhile, Zahn ordered some servants to prepare the empty guest rooms in the backyard, and not spare any expense to make their guests enjoy their stay. Master Lin was thoroughly impressed by all the effort he put into this. For the next few days, the atmosphere of the clan was a lot livelier. The additional students and all the other visitors that came caused everyone to be in a cheerful mood. Many of the young men of the clan kept looking at their beautiful guests. Enviously, they glanced at Xavier, who once more stood in the limelight.
And you really lost all of your power? That must have been devastating.
One of the beautiful girls put her hand on Xavier's shoulder as she paid her sympathies. Xavier tried his hardest to not be rude as he moved her hand off his shoulders. His face flushed in a dark shade of red.
It's fine now. I don't like to sulk around for too long. It's in the past.
That is so brave of you. Another pretty girl chimed in, making some of the young men that were lurking in the background roll their eyes.
How does it come he is getting everyone's attention? This isn't fair.
Chang, who overheard the girls questioning Xavier unceasingly, sighed with annoyance. The day after they arrived also came to an end. After dinner, Xavier excused himself to sneak to his room. He threw himself onto his soft bed. The fight with Master Lin and being a host to their guests exhausted him a lot more than he anticipated. He had no time to think about the adventure ahead. As soon as he pulled his blanket over his tired body, he fell asleep. This morning, he was awoken by the sun lighting up his room. Thoroughly stretching himself, Xavier sat up on his bed. His muscles were aching as he got up and took a shower. Awoken by the sun lighting up his room. Thoroughly stretching himself, Xavier sat up on his bed. His muscles were aching as he got up and took a shower.
Master Lau, when are we leaving?
Lau had to laugh at Xavier's sudden formal address. Master, huh? Since when are you so respectful? Xavier shrugged.
I guess I have to be respectful if you were going to be my teacher, right?
Lau hummed in agreement. Let's prepare some things today. Fresh water, food, a tent, and insect repellent. Those mosquitoes are a plague. Oh, and low-grade alchemy ingredients to make medicine. Healing medicine and medicine to recover your energy will be essential for your training. Make sure to always have at least a batch or two at hand. Don't go anywhere without it. But this shouldn't be a problem with me around. Make sure to be as prepared as possible. I have no idea how long we will have to live in the depths of the mountain range.
I look forward to it.
Xavier smiled and pulled his clothes on. He was sincere as he said he was looking forward to it. After being stuck in this village for so many years, he needed a change of air. I am glad you are, Lau replied softly. Since you were born, you have had a more or less cozy life. It made you lazy. Unless you are in a life-or-death situation, your true potential won't come out. With the kind of stress-free training that you've been doing for the past few years, you will never become stronger. It's not that you lack talent, just experience. Once you have experienced true danger and bloodshed, you will be a different man.
I'm confident I will survive, no matter what comes.
With a deep breath, Xavier straightened up. He looked at his reflection in his mirror as he said those words. In it, he already saw a different man from 2 years ago. He had grown a lot in this short time. Somehow, he could hardly believe that this strong young man in the mirror was truly him.
I wonder how much more I can change.
Oh, you have no idea. People are capable of incredible change if they must survive danger. But it is good to be confident. Lau smiled proudly at Xavier.
Sure is. Speaking of confidence, didn't you want to teach me a Diamond D technique last time? I feel that I am ready to take this step.
Xavier put on a bright smile as he asked. He was looking forward to learning the Diamond D technique for a while. Lau huffed. I thought you got more patient, but I might have been overestimating you when it comes to that. Oh well, I said that I will teach you, and I am not one to take something I said back. Wait until we are out of Wutan City. Then, I will teach you. Xavier's heart sank. He considered asking a few things about it, but then decided against it. He figured it would be wasted time. Lau would not bother to answer until they have left the city. Lost in thought, Xavier put everything in his breast pocket and walked out of his room. Right now, Master Lin and the others had rushed to the plaza once more to recruit students. The clan's home was again a lot emptier. Xavier strolled down a few of those abandoned pathways, though the peaceful silence did not last for long. As Xavier reached the wide road at the entrance, he found it to be crowded with carriages. Many of them were adorned with all sorts of jewels and family crests. Xavier did not recognize many of them, but they looked very extravagant. Most of them were made of gold, or at least silver. All sorts of animals and beasts were carved into them.
Man, news got around quickly. Can't believe they have already arrived here. Some people.
Xavier shook his head and avoided any sort of eye contact with the families in the carriages. The last thing he needed was to be recognized and have a desperate mother try to bribe him to put in a good word at Nanji Academy for her child. He really wasn't in the mood for any of this. Speeding up his pace, he walked out of the village and towards the center of Wutan City. He went through an alley, pulled out his black cloak, and threw it over himself. Shortly afterwards, he found himself in front of the auction house. It was more crowded than usual. most likely due to the ongoing recruitment of students for Nanji Academy. Lady Phi was already awaiting him in the VIP room as Xavier entered. In her hands was a long scroll of ingredients. She only looked away as she noticed Xavier walking through the door. With suspicion, she raised an eyebrow.
Xavier, dear, why did you list so many ingredients and things to survive in the wild? Don't tell me you were planning to go on an adventure.
Judging by her smug smile, Phi knew about Xavier's intentions by now. Xavier was not surprised by this. She was a shrewd woman after all. Part of this was why he came to like her. The first time seeing her at the auction house, he thought she was one of those brainless bombshells. He clearly misjudged. Seeing Phi smile, Xavier laughed a bit.
Don't act as if you haven't figured it out by now. But yes, I will be leaving Wutan City in the next few days. It might take a while before I'll return.
Phi chuckled.
All right, you got me. There's only one thing I did not figure out. How long will you be gone? The ingredients you listed are not something you would take on a week-long journey.
Xavier sighed.
No, they're not. I intend to be gone for at least a year, perhaps even 2. 2 years?
Phi was stunned.
Why do you need so long? I did imagine that you will be gone for a few months, but 2 whole years? That's a lot longer than I expected. What do you intend to do with all this time?
Awkwardly, Xavier rubbed the back of his head. He did not think Phi would be so shocked about this news. Then again, it would make sense that she would miss him, or rather, all the pills and potions he brought her to the auction house.
Well, I'm already an adult. I want to travel and gain some experience. I feel bottled up in this small city.
Phi tilted her head and hummed.
I suppose I understand what you mean.
She sighed as she looked into the distance for a moment. Xavier wondered what made her understand this. Before he could ask, Phi turned her attention back to him with a wide smile.
With your talent, staying in this city will hinder your progress. But do tell me, that mysterious alchemist, will he be leaving with you? Yes, he offered to teach me,
Xavier said, not without pride.
No wonder. Then I suppose you will be coming back as a new alchemist.
Xavier blushed.
Well, the healing medicine of our clan was refined by me, so I already have some experience.
He worried for a moment if he came across as too arrogant, but he did not feel like downplaying it. Besides, he wanted to talk about this with someone. Refining the medicine made him feel very accomplished, and while he did not want to brag, he did want to share his excitement with someone. As of now, only Lao knew about Xavier refining the medicine, and what bothered Xavier the most about having to keep this to himself was the fact that he could not talk about it with Sunny. Phi laughed as she heard this. It was obvious that she had already guessed most of what Xavier told her.
Master Tao did find some clues from the level of the blood-clotting powder. The only reason he did not realize that it was you was because he did not know of the connection between you and the mysterious alchemist.
Xavier smiled. He took out a pale golden card from his pocket and handed it to Phi.
Please help me to gather all the items and deduct the cost from my card. And don't give me all of them for free again as a favor. I don't want to leave any open ends before I'll make my journey.
The card he gave Phi contained over 400,000 gold coins. It was his share of his profits from the sale of the healing medicine his clan sold. Xavier had a hard time wrapping his head around the fact that these were only 10% of the profits made. His father must have been swimming in a pool filled with gold coins by now. At least Xavier could be sure that he would not have to worry about the clan's finances while he was gone. Phi rolled her eyes but laughed.
All right, I understand. No favors anymore. At least not for the next 2 years.
All Phi could do was take the card and call for a servant. She handed the servant the card and the paper scroll, telling her to get everything done.
Once I am gone, please make sure to continue helping my father Zahn and our clan if they would need any help. I hope things will be fine. I made sure to arrange everything before heading off, but part of me does worry about them. If there is anything I can do in exchange, I will make sure to do so once I am back.
Xavier raised his head to look into Phi's eyes.
Oh dear, how could I reject you? I would do anything to stay in the good graces of a powerful alchemist, even if it costs me my life.
Phi laughed. She could not say no to Xavier's big puppy eyes looking at her. She replied with a seductive smile that made her eyes sparkle. Seeing how Xavier blushed, she laughed.
I apologize. I will stop teasing you.
She loved causing any reaction in this mature, level-headed young man.
I look forward to hearing from you again in 2 years. It will be interesting to see how much more powerful you will get. But do remember, if you were ever in the area, you are more than welcome to visit the premier auction house. We look forward to working with you again."
Xavier nodded. He stood up.
"Thank you. I am looking forward to working with you again."
Xavier was sincere as he said this, and Phi could of course tell. She smiled at him, but there was sadness in her eyes. She would not admit it, since it would go against her professional attitude, but she grew very fond of him, not only because of their business relationship. Part of her grew to think of him like a little brother. She enjoyed his visits and their conversations. Having him wander off into the world made her worry, though of course, she knew how shrewd and strong Xavier was. He would not struggle as much as someone else might. Phi swallowed and forced her worries about Xavier out of her mind.
"He will be fine. I am sure about this. He's a strong kid, and he has grown up so much since I first saw him."
She tried to calm herself silently. She stretched out her hand.
"Take care, Xavier. I wish you all the best."
Xavier saw the sadness in her eyes. He ignored the stretched out hand in front of her and pulled her into a tight hug. Phi was stunned. She never got that close to any of the clients she worked with, even though most of them would have loved it if this would have been the case. Her body tensed up. She was not used to such behavior. If this young man would have been anyone else, she would have shredded him apart. She worried for a moment that Xavier might have inappropriate intentions, but then quickly shook those thoughts out of her head and returned the hug. They hugged for a minute, if not longer. Once Xavier let go, he suddenly took a step back and laughed.
"I wish you all the best too, but just some friendly advice. As chief auctioneer, maybe you should take things more seriously. If you let all your clients hug you, they might get bad intentions."
Phi startled. With burning red cheeks, she snorted.
"You brat, you have some nerves to mock me. It says a lot about you if this is what you're thinking about when hugging me."
Both of them kept laughing as they parted. He waved after her as he made his way out. Phi waved back. She could not help but keep staring at the silhouette wandering off into the distance. This was something she would not see again for many years to come. As she noticed that she had teared up, she turned around and quickly made her way back to the back room of the auction house. Back to his house, he watched the lively Wutan city one last time. He grew very fond of it in the short time he knew it. He swallowed down his melancholy upon seeing the familiar shops and streets.
"The outside world will be more exciting. I'm looking forward to it."
He was unsure if he was lying to himself to put his heart at ease. With frustration, he kicked a pebble on the streets all the way to the village. He was looking forward to this adventure for so long. Why does he suddenly feel so sad when thinking about it? Was it fear of the unknown? Xavier scoffed at the thought of this.
"It can't be. It's not like I'm scared.
Images of Zahn, Sunny, Phi, and all the others came to mind, even Ming, much to Xavier's own surprise. He brushed the oncoming tears out of his eyes, forcing himself to laugh.
"It feels so silly to get sad about this. I will see them all again in 2 years. But still, I never had a family like this, and I will miss them so much."
Once Xavier was in his room, he distracted himself by preparing the last things needed. He had 2 days left to say goodbye to everyone. Lao was respectful towards his conflicted feelings. He understood how Xavier must have felt. This was a huge step for a young man. Sunny, as perceptive as always, was able to sense Xavier's sadness. Whenever she could, she spent time with him during the last 2 days. Her lively eyes were cried red. Though as Xavier asked about this, she brushed it off by saying it's the pollen she is allergic to that's been plaguing her all summer. Something she had never had an issue with before. Luckily, Xavier did not press her about this. Zahn was not in any better mood. He was reluctant about Xavier leaving. During their last conversation, Zahn pleaded with Xavier multiple times to make him reconsider. But Xavier stood his ground.
"I have made my decision. I am sorry, Father, but I will return in 2 years. I promise."
Zahn did not want to start an argument by telling Xavier that he should not make any promises he might be unable to keep. Helplessly, he shook his head. "I remember when your brothers moved out. I suppose it can't be helped. You are as stubborn as your father, after all." Zahn forced a laugh to cover up his true feelings. "Xavier, if you ever have the chance, make a stop in Grand Desert City. Your older brothers have established themselves there. They found a mercenary group called Desert Steel. In the past few years, they gained considerable strength in the area. Make sure to visit them when you can. Tell them I said hi." Xavier smiled at the fond memory of his brothers. He hardly ever saw them. After going through the coming-of-age ceremony, they left. Much like Xavier, they wanted to see more of this world. It was a long journey to reach the Grand Desert City, so they seldom returned to Wutan City for visits. Xavier made sure to keep this in mind as he walked out of his father's office. "Mr. Xavier Xiao!" A gentle and soft female voice caused Xavier to turn around as he was about to walk down a small pathway. By the roadside was Master Lin. "Master Lin? Should you not be at the tent to recruit students at this time?" "Oh, I came by to take care of some things. Right now, Miss Zunair is taking over for me." Master Lin stepped closer to Xavier. He laughed. "Sonny, wow! I can't believe her. She did not even start training at the academy yet and is already the teacher's pet." "What was that?" Master Lin straightened up with a raised eyebrow, making Xavier turn his laugh into a cough to clear his throat instead. Nothing. I'm glad Sunny is enjoying herself." He rubbed the back of his head as he turned red. "I suppose that is for the better. I want to leave without making a fuss. The others would only get sad and start crying, and then I would end up crying too. It would be really embarrassing for everyone involved. I'm doing us all a favor by sneaking out." "You might see this as a favor, but others might be saddened by it." Master Lin offered her thoughts on the matter. Before Xavier could reply, she added with a subtle smirk, "Either way, no matter how you decide to leave, I do hope that a year from now I will hear news of someone clashing with the faction of the Misty Clouds." Xavier froze. He was stunned. He was about to ask how she knew, but then decided against it. She has been here for a few days, and some people were very talkative, while others might have thought that Ming or Sunny could have had something to do with this. The first person that came to Xavier's mind was Zahn. His father was usually the one that talked the most, especially when it came to Xavier's achievements in life. Though Sunny seems as if she has been giving him a run for the money lately. A mischievous smile grew on Master Lin's face. "What I would really like to know is how she is going to react when she finds out how much strength you really have." With a laugh, Xavier continued the conversation for a while. He did not want to drag the conversation on, but part of him was still hesitant to leave, though he knew it would have been less painful to walk out of the village and not look back instead of chatting with anyone. After he bid her farewell, he walked back to his house. Her attentive gaze followed him until he disappeared. With a sigh, Xavier walked into his bedroom. There, from under the pillow, he retrieved 3 storage rings. He only kept one of them on his finger. Carefully, he stored the other 2 away in his pockets. Although they were of a lower grade, they were still priceless objects. He knew that he needed to be cautious when traveling. Showing any sign of wealth was a foolish thing to do. He might as well wear a sign with "Rob Me" written on it. The other things that Xavier brought with him were simple, and he was able to store all of them in his rings. By the end of it, his room was empty. As he laughed, it echoed from the wooden walls. The last rays of sunshine disappeared as he walked out. His departure did not disturb anyone. He walked out in casual clothing, and under the respectful glances of the guards, exited the clan through the main entrance. They did not know that it would be the last time they'd see him for years to come. Meanwhile, Sunny was feeling uneasy. Anyone who knew her a bit could tell that something plagued her mind. "Sunny, have some water." The deep voice of a handsome young man caught her off guard. Sunny lifted her head to the handsome man behind her. He was the strongest among the current enrollment team. Even Liu was much weaker than him. Additionally, he did not bother to put on some fake smile or lie to people to appease them. All in all, he was much more pleasant to be around than Liu. While Sunny was chatting with him, she noticed that many of the other girls threw some envious looks. However, even though the young man was gentle and polite, it did not catch much of Sunny's attention. "I'm good, thanks." The young man shrugged and kept the glass of water in his hand. "Thank you for your help today. If it wouldn't have been for you, we would have been flooded with all the work. Sorry for the trouble. I'm sure you would have preferred to spend your time otherwise." Sunny shook her head. "Master Lin asked me to come and help out. It's not like I could refuse her." Her eyes wandered into the far distance, before she turned back to the young man and asked, "I'm sorry, but do you mind leaving me alone? I need some time by myself." The young man was taken aback. He took an apologetic bow. Of course, I am sorry. I did not want to bother you. Quickly, he walked back to the tent. Liu was waiting at the tent for him, leaning against the tree at the entrance. Hey, Jin, what happened? Fallen in love again? The young man named Jin paused. His eyes darted to Sunny, then back to Liu. It is rare to see such a lovely, mature lady here. The others at the academy cannot compare to her. And yet she is not interested in you, Liu bantered, keeping his faked smile. Interest needs to grow over time. I am not in any rush. Jin gave him a fleeting smile and wanted to move on. You know, she has a close relationship with that guy Xavier, Liu casually said and also took a glance at Sunny. Jin furrowed his brows. That guy? Do you know if it is true what they say? Did he really survive a fight against Master Lin? Not only survive, but also win. It's unfortunate that you weren't around to see it. The fight was quite the spectacle on the plaza. Master Lin used her water serpent, but that guy still resisted. His face darkened as Liu remembered that day. Jin was unbothered. He emptied the glass in his hand in one big gulp. Even if this is true, I won't give up. When it comes to women, he is far from my level. Besides, he is gone for an entire year. I will spend a lot more time around Sunny than he will. Jin was not overplaying his confidence as he said this. He was an experienced player and knew how to capture any heart he desired. Sunny kept her eyes focused on the distance, as suddenly, Master Lin appeared before her. She placed her hand gently on Sunny's shoulders. Miss Sunair, he left. Sunny trembled. She nodded, tears in her eyes. She tried to brush them off, but Master Lin already saw them. Don't be sad. I know that 1 year time seems like an eternity when you are young, but it is not. He will come back, sooner than you can imagine. Okay. Sunny took a deep breath and made her way to the tent. She stopped at the entrance and looked, took a bow in front of Jin. Not a trace of sadness or anger was left on her face. Jin, would you accompany me for a spar? Huh? Jin was taken aback. Liu was as well. I would love to spar with you. I'll make sure to go easy on you. Liu gnashed his teeth. You should be careful. She is a level 6 young master. Jin waved this advice off. I advanced to level 7 2 months ago. Looks like this is a good start on my mission to cheer her up. With a smile, Jin entered the tent after Sunny. Liu kept waiting outside. Not even 5 minutes later, Sunny was the first to walk out of the tent. She looked apathetic. Huh? Liu was taken aback. He expected Jin to come out first. The young lady stood outside and watched the setting sun for a few moments before turning towards Liu. If anyone speaks poorly about Xavier again, I will kill them. Never before did Liu see Sunny's eyes in such a cold state. Unblinking, she stared at him before eventually walking off. His skin crawled. As soon as she left the plaza, both Master Lin, who was concerned and decided to keep an eye on Sunny, and Liu rushed inside the tent. Jin was laying on the floor. He was knocked out. His face was beaten black and blue. Blood ran down his nose. On the floor next to his body, 10 teeth were scattered about. Headquarters of the Misty Cloud faction was located on the top of a majestic mountain. It was
秋节牌卡都在宅神爷，打开宅神爷，换你当大爷。
宅神爷，
玩宅神爷麻将 ，iPhone 从天降。
only a few miles away from the capital of the empire. The mountain, due to the faction, was named the Mountain of the Misty Clouds. It was a most precipitous place. 3 of its sides were cliffs. Only one road led to the summit. It was a dangerous place which was easy to defend, but hard to besiege. Moreover, the faction's disciples tightly patrolled the mountain at every time of the day. The mountain was like its own fortress. A garrison, manned by 50,000 men with horses, was installed by the Empire of the Heavens, only 2 miles away from the foot of the mountain. Officially, they claimed they have done so for the sake of defending the capital, but everyone knew this wasn't the case. What they actually wanted to do was to make sure that the capital would be protected from the terrifying force that was at their doorsteps. No one could see the summit from below. It was shrouded by fog and clouds. There was something mysterious about it, like a hidden paradise. On a black boulder near the edge of a cliff, a young lady dressed in white meditated. She kept her eyes closed and focused on her breath. The thick energy surrounding the air around her released green steam whenever she breathed out. It spiraled around her before being absorbed by her body again. As the final thread of green steam was absorbed by her, she opened her eyes. They flashed up with green light. Her shoulder-long black hair was lifted by the wind. "Lady Yan, Master Yuhan has arrived. He says he wishes to see you." A female servant who waited for the lady to finish her training spoke up as she opened her eyes. "Father, why is he here?" Upon hearing the servant's words, the young lady gracefully stood up. On her face was a look of suspicion. The wind brushed past her, pressing her white robe against her. She straightened her clothes before she spun around and left. She took one last glance at the seemingly bottomless pit so close to her. Nearby, in a spacious and bright large hall, decorated in white and silver, a gloomy middle-aged man was sipping at a cup of tea. His hands were trembling. His free hand was tapping nervously against the table. Nalan Yuhan was irritated and on the edge after his father, Master Yi, had forced him all the way up this mountain. Yuhan did not expect that in the year in which he led troops to the garrison at the western edge of the empire, his daughter would dare to end the engagement that her grandfather arranged, especially not so privately and without anyone's approval. There was no one who did not know that Master Yi was extremely concerned about the clan's reputation. Lady Yan's careless actions would undoubtedly raise a lot of eyebrows. People would question their dignity. They would say that they are lacking honor for breaking off an engagement that has been set so many years ago. Hearing this sort of gossip, Master Yi flew into a fit of rage at his home. If it would not have been for the fact that he was paralyzed and therefore bedbound, he would have dragged his dying body all the way up to the top of the mountain himself. Truthfully, Master Yuhan was not upset about his daughter breaking off the engagement. After all, Xavier has been known for being weak and a disgrace to his clan for the past 3 years. Allowing Xavier to marry his daughter, whose beauty and talent were praised by the entire empire, put him at unease. However, the past was in the past. According to more recent news, Xavier had not only gotten his old strength back, but he was also excelling in his training as well, and he improved at a speed that was never seen before. The potential he currently showed was something that Yuhan could respect. Unfortunately, Lady Yan's actions have caused the former friendship between the two clans to turn to ice, much to Yuhan and Yi's embarrassment. If this tension between the clans would continue, not only would Yuhan lose his future son-in-law, but it also might escalate to further fights with the Xiao clan. Thinking about having a person with the potential of becoming a Kyushi master to look down on the faction of the Misty Clouds angered and frightened Yuhan. This foolish girl, her increasing rebelliousness will get her into more trouble than it's worth. I can tell. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Yuhan stood up and smashed his teacup across the hall onto the ground. The servant next to him shivered. Without a word, she replaced it. "You should have told me that you were coming to visit, Father." A clear, soft voice rang from the entrance of the hall. "You still think of me as your father. I feared that after becoming a disciple to Master Juni, you will forget your origins in the Nalan clan." Hearing Lady Yan call him father did tone his anger down by a bit. Lady Yan's shoulders sank. She waved the servant next to her off. The servant took a quick bow, leaving father and daughter alone in the hall. "Father, you have not seen me for more than a year, and yet you start lecturing me the second we meet. What about a hello, or, 'Oh, it is great to see you. Did you not miss me?'" Lady Yan turned her eyes away and silently murmured, "The next time I will return home, I will tell Mom about this." Though Yuhan was not supposed to hear her last few uttered words, he did not pretend like he didn't hear them. "Return home? You dare to return home? If you ever set foot into your old home, your grandfather will break both of your legs, you spoiled brat." Lady Yan pushed her lips together, looking down at the floor. Her eyes teared slightly up. Immediately, she brushed the tears out of her eyes. Yuhan noticed, but couldn't have cared less. "I am certain you are aware why I came to visit. Or are you foolish enough to think that I came for some chit-chat over a cup of tea?" Lady Yan played with a strand of her hair, her eyes still focused on the floor. "It is because of me breaking off the engagement." Yuhan smashed the table with his hand. He flexed his teeth. The marriage was personally arranged by your grandfather. Who gave you permission to break it off? Jan grew frustrated. She was strong and independent. Not to mention, she did inherit some of her father's angry streak.
This is my marriage. I'm not going to do whatever you and that old dying bastard force me to do. Regardless of who made the arrangement, I am the one who has to get married, not Grandpa.
Don't take me for a fool. This is only happening because you thought that Xavier was beneath you in power. You thought he was not good enough for you, but the days of him being weak are in the past. His current potential is no longer lower than yours. I am certain you have received news about him. Yuhan's eyes pierced through Jan. She tensed up.
I did hear about it. It did surprise me.
It surprised you? That is all you have to say about this? I was talking with your grandfather about this. He ordered you to find some time for a visit to Wutan City. You need to apologize and smooth things out. Yuhan crossed his arms in front of his chest. Jan was furious.
Apologize? There is no way I'm going to apologize to that brat. Even if he is no longer some weakling, I don't want to marry him, and don't even consider apologizing on my behalf behind my back. If you could even do that, I'm not going there ever again, and I'm not going to apologize.
You are in no position to refuse. This mess was caused by you, so you have to clean it up. A dangerous spark lit up in Yuhan's eyes. Jan huffed.
I won't go. Also, he claims to be very capable. He dared to challenge me back then. I will be waiting for him here and fight him. If I lose to him, I will remain his servant, and he can do as he pleases.
You bitch. If you lose at the end of this duel and become his servant, you will have disgraced your family more than he ever could. Have you no shame? Yuhan jumped up from his chair, scolding his daughter while glaring down at her. Jan sunk further into her chair. She looked like a cat whose tail was stepped on.
Who says that I will lose to him? Sure, he regained some of his strength, so what? Not only does the faction of the Misty Clouds possess numerous high-leveled Q methods, but we also have a greater number of high-level D techniques. Not to mention, we have the Pill King Lucian working for us. All of these things are out of his reach. Even if he is the son of some chief, if he would want to find a high-leveled Q method or D technique, he would have to search for a decade.
Yuhan took one step towards Jan, stretching out his hand to give her a smack. As suddenly, a white-clothed figure swept into the hall, standing between him and Jan. Yuhan, don't act so rash. Shen, you bloody bastard. They told me all about it. You accompanied her the last time she went to the Xiao clan, didn't you? You have some nerve going against our father's wishes like that. Shen had a sheepish smile on his lips. Nervously, he laughed. This was the faction leader's decision, not mine. I have no right to go against her wishes. She would kill me. Yuhan bit his tongue. He knew the faction leader. Upsetting her would have been unwise. What is Junie up to anyway? How can she allow Jan to do such foolish things? If Jan would lose the fight, she would end up as a servant. How can Junie encourage this? Yuhan, don't worry. This has already been decided on, so there is no point arguing about how wise or foolish this decision was. Besides, even if you would force Jan to apologize, it would be impossible to repair the damage between our two clans that has been made. If you would show up there, you would only embarrass yourself. And as for the challenge, don't worry about it. The faction leader has personally left the mountain to gather ingredients for the Pill King. Once he refines them into medicine, Xavier won't be able to do as much as touch Lady Yan during a fight. What sort of medicine? Yuhan asked with a frown. He did not like the Pill King, nor his medicine. Shen shrugged. I wish I would know. The recipe was apparently discovered accidentally by the Pill King, something left behind by an ancient civilization. As for its effects, well, he did not say much, but both he and the faction leader have high trust in the medicine. Yan snuck a glance at Yuhan from behind Shen. The anger did not leave his face. Never mind, I am done wasting my time with you. If you end up as a servant once you get defeated, you better never mention your origin in the Nalan clan ever again. I can't afford to be humiliated by an ungrateful brat like you.
I won't be defeated.
Yan raised her voice with confidence. Yuhan did not hear her anymore. He had already stormed out of the hall, smashing the great door behind him into its angles. Deadly silence. Shen seemed concerned. He turned around to face Yan. Are you confident that you will defeat him? That brat has really gotten up again, stronger than before. Underestimating him might be a bad move.
Uncle Shen, why do you even think that I could not compare to that pathetic bastard?
She became sour, hearing her uncle's thoughts. Shen hastily shook his head. No, it's not. It's not that I doubt your strength and ability, but there is something strange about Xavier. I can tell, though I cannot tell what it is exactly. It's just a bit odd. Yan pursed her lips. She lifted her cup of tea and took a sip. Her hands clenched the cup as she stared into the pale green tea.
I don't believe we need to be worried. There's still more than 1 year left. Let's see how high he can climb from being a level 3 young master. I, Yan, will be awaiting for him here at the faction of the Misty Clouds. He can fight me if he has enough of a spine left.
The waning moon hung in the dark night. Its faint cold light blanketed the vast land. Within the pitch-black forest, a weak bonfire shed some warmth. Next to it was Xavier. In his hand was a stick, with which he poked the fire absent-mindedly. It has been 5 days since he left his home. His former excitement wore off. A feeling of homesickness plagued his heart.
Master, where exactly are we going?
He threw another piece of firewood into the flame. Instantly, it gleamed up brightly. The Shenqi mountain range. It is also referred to as the mountain range of monsters. I am sure you can imagine why. The old man laughed from within the ring on Xavier's finger.
I thought we could also enter the Shenqi mountain range from the border of Wutan City. Why are we traveling so far around it?
Xavier tried to hide his annoyance as well as he could. It has only been 5 days after all. We are on the eastern side of the mountain range. By passing through this side, we can reach the Tag Desert. This desert is our final destination for your training.
That means we are passing right through the Shenqi mountain range.
Xavier laughed dryly as he realized this.
My current strength won't even be enough to take down baby monsters. Won't it be impossible to cross the mountain range?
Only if you face danger will you live up to your potential. Lao repeated the advice he had already given Xavier numerous times.
This means you want me to live in the mountain range for my training?
Xavier sighed.
How am I supposed to survive here? Even the smaller monsters could kill me.
You won't stay here for the entire training period. Only about a year. By then we should have reached the Tag Desert. Lao's attempt to cheer Xavier up failed miserably.
Only 1 year. Great.
He was about to ask where the Tag Desert even was, but then shook his head. Part of him thought that Lao would keep an eye on him when things would get too heated. His teacher would not let him be eaten by monsters after all, or at least so he hoped.
Master, what about the Diamond D technique you wanted to teach me? How am I supposed to defend myself effectively without it?
Lao groaned. You little brat. Are you so bored that the only thing that brings you joy is annoying me about this dumb D technique every 5 minutes? I'm not going to teach you the D technique here. There are too many eyes. Once we reach a more secluded area, I will teach you. Xavier could do nothing but sigh and nod, much to Lao's annoyance. Have you no manners, brat? Don't you remember when I told you that you were biting off more than you can chew? You've only trained Air Palm and Vacuum Hand. You haven't even attempted to use Octane Blast. Its potential hasn't even scratched the surface.
Not even scratched the surface? How can that be? The last time I used it, I broke someone's arm.
Xavier rolled his eyes as he murmured under his breath. Lao only laughed, his voice mocking Xavier. Sure, you have broken his arm, but you did not get away scot-free from this fight, did you? If you would not have caught your opponent off guard, your fight would have ended in a draw, in the best-case scenario, that is. Xavier did not reply. He furrowed his brows, deep in thought, silently. He remembered the things Lao taught him about Octane Blast. Octane Blast is an XX level D technique for close combat. It focuses on having a great number of attacks. When mastered, its blast is composed of 8 forces that join together. Its power can be compared to a lower diamond level D technique. Lao hummed. The 8 different forces must be accumulated during training. How many of them have you mastered? On a different note, if you would add a hidden force on top of the one you have mastered, you would have been able to defeat your opponent Shao instantly, without such a struggle.
Add a hidden force?
How am I supposed to do that? Xavier was confused. He had never heard of something like that. Lao sounded as if his patience was wearing thin. All right, let me explain. When you used Octane Blast in the past, you only attacked with it. There was no thought-out technique to it. I did not bother to complain about it since you were still too weak back then. Also, I was hoping you would figure out how to add a hidden force on your own. Xavier rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. He never thought about this. This was because Octane Blast had a force that he deemed strong enough. He was so satisfied seeing the result, he did not bother going further with it. Lao quietly gave Xavier an order. Close your eyes and reach deep into your soul. Xavier understood immediately. He crossed his legs, taking on his training posture. It took a few minutes before Xavier opened his eyes again. He frowned, remembering his and Lao's exchange. With a deep breath, he tightened his fist. Crying out, he smashed it into a huge tree trunk. Octane Blast! On the spot where his fist had smashed, a hole appeared. Thin cracks spread out from it all throughout the tree trunk. Not long after, he hit it again. The hidden force was transferred deep into the tree trunk, and suddenly, not even a minute later, the huge tree trunk exploded from within. The shaky remaining pieces of wood that survived the explosion fell and shattered across the woodland ground. Xavier's eyes widened. What? Wow! That was awesome! He was stunned. Although this trick cost him a third of his Q combat energy, the effect it had caused made Xavier ignore this. No wonder it can be compared to a low Diamond D technique. Lao hummed. Not too bad, is it? At least not for your first attempt. You need to improve this. Did you notice the few seconds it took the energy to make the tree trunk explode? Those are a few seconds you won't have in battle. If your opponent has keen senses, you would be able to eliminate the force before it explodes. I will continue to practice it. With more practice, I am sure I will be able to speed things up. Xavier threw some more fast punches. Understanding the potential of Octane Blast had increased his combat ability greatly, much to his joy. Lao manifested himself near Xavier, nodding his head. Although Flame Mantra does have the ability to evolve, its starting level is quite low. The Q combat energy within your body will only be able to provide enough energy to use Octane Blast a few times. Make sure to use it wisely. It is supposed to be a swift and efficient last blow against an opponent, not something that you can use repeatedly and hope for the best. Oh, I understand, Xavier sighed. So what you're saying is that if I use it too often, I will run out of energy before harming my opponent. Lao hummed. He thought to himself for a moment. I believe I need to think of a way for you to speed up your Q combat energy training. Once we are deeper into the mountain range, I will guide you to search for some medicine ingredients. There are a lot of plants that we need that can be found in the mountain range. You are still dependent on alchemy. Talent alone can't save you. Xavier smiled, but his smile quickly dropped upon realizing something. Isn't the Pill King Lucian helping the faction of the Misty Clouds? Yan might be getting his help. What if she is also using this method of training? Lao scuffed at these words. Pah, so what? That self-proclaimed Pill King is only some hack. Don't overthink that. He cannot compete against me. There are only a few that can. I cannot think of even 5 alchemists that are on my level. Anyway, let's not talk about this any longer. I have wasted enough of my time having to think about that Pill King. Xavier was wondering where this grudge against the Pill King stemmed from. Before he could consider asking, Lao added, Oh right, please hold this from now on. You need to keep it with you at all times, even when you sleep. Carry what thing? As soon as Xavier finished his question, a huge black item shot from his old ring and crashed onto the ground. Huh? What the hell is this for? He stared at the black item, about as large as he was. It looked like an obelisk of sorts, or some giant rock. Xavier touched it. The item was cold to the touch. A slight iron scent emitted from it. The moonlight shimmered on its surface. Lao had a smug smile on his face as he explained. This item is made of a black meteorite. It is likely the only one on the entire continent. Not only is it almost impossible to break, but it is also immensely heavy. More importantly, It has the strange effect to suppress one's Q combat energy. If you can get used to being under its influence, you will be all the stronger once you remove it. And the diamond level D technique I will be teaching you is also related to this object. The scorching sun blazed onto the road. Its surface cracked open under the high temperatures. When a traveler stepped onto the hard soil, another crack appeared in the street, causing a heat wave to rush into the traveler's feet. Many adventurers cursed this hot weather. Xavier, who was walking on the wide ochre road, cursed this weather as well. He struggled to walk. Every step demanded an extreme level of strength. His body was exhausted. Sweat was running down his forehead like a river. He felt as if he weighed a ton. A cloud of dust twirled up into the air with each step. Oddly enough, there was a sort of black broadsword on his back. Though the broadsword had no edge, nor any sharp tip, it kind of resembled an obelisk. It had a smooth surface that was mirroring the environment. On this surface was a pattern of thin white veins, making the material look like some sort of black marble. The length of this monstrous obelisk was at least as much as the height of the young man who struggled under its weight. Many travelers threw him confused looks. After walking another few hundred feet, Xavier could not take it anymore. He gasped for air as he dragged his body and the obelisk to the shadow of a big tree that was growing at the roadside. He immediately collapsed at the roots of the tree. His back was leaning against it, his face looking up to the sky. "Master, this thing is too heavy. It's a nightmare. After carrying it for so long, I can feel the energy in my body leaving me. I feel more exhausted than ever before. The distance that would have taken 1 day took 2 days with this damn piece of shit on my back." Xavier could feel his throat drying out more and more with each word. Lau's voice sounded from the ring. He showed no mercy. Instead, he mocked Xavier with laughter and teasing. "What did you expect, brat? The training has started, and it is called training for a reason. Did you think we would spend all day roaming around in the wild doing nothing? No. This will be tough training. You will train until you come to enjoy the suffering that comes with it. Your cozy life in Wutan City is long past gone." Xavier side-eyed the obelisk on his back with disdain. He did not expect to be so intimidated by some random rock. It was so heavy, Xavier feared that it might break his spine. During the 2 days of carrying this, he got an understanding of the true meaning of weariness. With this monument on his back, his strength was equivalent to one of a newly advanced young master. And although it constrained him greatly, it did help him to ease his worries about letting others find out about his true strength. He rubbed the storage ring on his finger. Within a second, a light green pill manifested itself in the palm of his hand. The pill was a rather effective Q recovering pill. It was able to increase the speed at which the Q combat energy regenerated over a short time. This pill was specifically refined by Lau. The only downside was that the ingredients needed for this recovery pill were exceedingly rare. Even with the help of the premier auction house, the ingredients were hard to come by. They gathered only enough for 30 of these pills. Due to this, Xavier did not want to waste them. Part of him was reluctant to take one, but he knew it could not be helped. Xavier made sure no one was around before hastily placing the pill on his tongue. If anyone had seen the pill, they might have challenged him. After all, this sort of pill could sell for thousands of gold coins. With a deep breath, he leaned further against the tree, waiting for the pill to show its effect. He closed his eyes. His battered muscles greedily absorbed the energy of the pills. Once the last drop of energy was absorbed, Xavier felt stronger than before. "It feels like there is some effect. Like I could take down a level 6 young master if I would be without this heavy thing on my back." Xavier muttered to himself as he touched his face with his hand. He broke into a grin. His body was full of newly found vigor. Forcing himself to stand up again, Xavier patted the heavy obelisk on his back with mixed feelings of love and hate before continuing his journey. He went on until the sun began to set. Gradually, the sky darkened. More and more stars appeared on the horizon. It was then that Xavier finally arrived at his first destination, a small town close to the mountain range. The actual name of this town had been long forgotten. Everyone referred to it as the Town of Beasts, due to its close vicinity to the mountain range. Most of the people living in this area were mercenaries who spent their days slaying monsters and looting for treasure. These mercenaries would form groups that would walk around on the streets while discussing which area had the fiercest monsters, where to find the best liquor, and of course, the local women. Xavier walked along the limestone road. He could feel his hot cheeks turn red, not due to the weight he was carrying, but due to the glances of people he passed. His training earned him a lot of confused looks. Xavier did his best to ignore the people staring. He was not unused to people staring at him, but he wanted to avoid any unnecessary attention. Many stores he passed were very popular. Xavier looked through the windows of each shop he passed. Some shops sold swords and weapons. Some sold armor and other gadgets for people to protect themselves, and others sold medicine. One particularly large pharmacy caught his attention. Xavier paused for a moment. Above the shop was a large old sign that said, Medicine Palace. This was something Xavier took interest in. Perhaps he could find some ingredients that would be useful. As long as he could find ingredients, Lau would be able to refine them into various pills and potions to boost his power and help him train. Pills were the most important thing he needed while traveling through the treacherous mountain range. Walking into the spacious store, Xavier was surprised to find it brightly lit by moonlight stones that were hanging on the walls. None of the employees bothered to greet him or ask him if he needed any help. Most of them were busy taking care of the many customers that were already in the shop. Xavier did not expect this store to be so busy. Still, Xavier was quite happy. He carefully inspected the various shelves and transparent display counters until his eyes stopped at a small jade case, hidden behind glass. Healing medication. You think an alchemist works here? He took a closer look at the written description on the small jade case. Xavier shook his head and continued to look through the items in the displays. None of them were particularly interesting, and although there were some ingredients of higher quality, Xavier was unsure what to make of them with his current abilities. Just as he was about to leave empty-handed, his eyes fell on a transparent display that showed a light yellow object. Xavier walked closer to it. Something about this object drew him in, as if there was some sort of magic to it. Xavier licked his lips. Hastily, he looked around for an employee. As he found one, he cleared his throat and pointed at the yellow object. Excuse me, could I please inspect this item? The young man that worked there turned around and nodded. He took a glance at Xavier, dressed in modest and plain clothing. Before taking out the item he requested, Yellow lotus essence. It's just some low-level medical ingredient. The employee looked at it and then back at Xavier. It's yours for $100. Xavier took the item and let it wander through his fingers. Just some low-level medical ingredient, he thought silently to himself. That can't be it. There is more to it. I can feel it. Then maybe you should listen to your instincts and take it. Lau's voice echoed through his mind. Xavier pushed his lips together. Stealthily, he scratched with his fingernail across the surface of the yellow lotus essence. Beneath the yellow surface, a bit of red shone through. As he gazed at the hidden dark red color, the corners of his mouth twitched. Trying to not reveal his intentions, he rubbed his nose, taking a subtle sniff of the scent that was now lingering on his finger. Sure enough, it was the scent of blood. A spark lit up in his eyes. So I was not wrong. It really is blood lotus essence. Xavier's heart skipped a beat at the sudden realization. Lau chuckled in Xavier's mind. You never run out of luck, do you? To find such a rare ingredient in a shop like this. Astonishing.